2 years into being a doctor, I thought I knew everything, of course. You know, you think you know everything, you've done your medical degree. And I thought, but I don't actually know why a young person will die suddenly. So I went home and did a search of the literature to see if there's any knowledge about why that happens. And it wasn't just me that had no idea why a young person died suddenly, but the world didn't know why young people died suddenly. And that was the impetus in the mid-1990s to think this is something really that we need to focus on. And so the last 20, 25 years, we've been focusing on trying to understand why young people die suddenly. And there's been amazing progress. So, you know, when you think of heart disease, you think of high blood pressure, cholesterol, blocked arteries, smokers, overweight people. But these young people have none of those things. They're perfectly fit and healthy. And so what we've identified over the last several years is that faults in the genes that we're born with can sometimes lead to rhythm problems of the heart that can then lead to sudden death. So, you know, in the last 10 years, we've discovered at least a quarter of the causes of why young people die suddenly in our communities. But still, every week in Australia, up to 5 young people under the age of 35 die suddenly, just like Xavier. No cause found, no idea why that happened. So we're working very hard on this, and the technology has been incredible in its advancement. So when I started my PhD, which was in the late 1990s, it took me 1 year to study one gene. We can now take a sample from anyone in this audience today, and in a week or two have all 22,000 of your genes sequenced and in a file in the cloud. And then we can analyze that data and identify more genes which might be causing these problems. So amazing advances in the last 10 years, very exciting. And as we look ahead, you know, the job's not done. You know, we talk about CPR and defibrillators and things like that. They're very important things. Everyone here should know how to do CPR. Everyone here should know how to use a defibrillator. If I have a collapse right now, the chances of my survival is somebody starting CPR quickly and somebody getting a defibrillator quickly and getting it on my chest. But the thing is that even if that happens straight away, 90% of people will not survive. So while CPR and defibrillators are very important, and we did a lot of campaigns regarding that, I want to get to a point in this world where we don't actually have any sudden deaths. So we don't have to actually do CPR or get defibrillators, because we'll understand how to predict people who might be at risk of dying suddenly. So lots of exciting things ahead, and I guess one of the things I want to focus on is, you know, when a young person dies suddenly, when we see the parents for the first time, these are people that, you know, went to school, never came home, went to sleep, never woke up, went on a marathon run and died at the finish line. The parents ask 1,000 questions about what happened. But the 2 questions every single parent asks is, why did my son or daughter die suddenly? And number 2, how can I stop that ever happening again to anyone else in my family, my sisters, my brothers, children, grandchildren, etc. And I'm pleased to say that through our research, we're starting to answer those questions. So, you know, in a quarter of those families, we're getting a diagnosis. So at least there's some level of closure for the family, that we know why that death occurred. And then we can use that information in other family members to see who's at risk. And if we do, and we find somebody at risk, it's really easy to actually prevent sudden death if you know what you're looking for. So lots of advances in research. The difficult part of research in Australia is getting money. And I'm not just saying that for today, I say that in every talk I ever give, because I spend about 3 months of my year writing grants, sitting in my office, doors closed, trying to think of ideas to get this funded, and the success rate for grants in Australia is 10%. So 90% of the work I do every year goes ignored. So when we get any sort of donation of, if it's $100, we know what to do with it, because there's so much things we can apply it to in terms of our understanding of sudden death in young people. So I'd like to end by just saying thank you to all of you for being here today and supporting the O'Grady family, but also supporting our research. I'm blessed. I'm here, I'm just the mouthpiece. The people who actually do the work are all in the crowd. Yeah, Richard Bagnall, put your hand up. Richard Bandel is from Newcastle, UK, so don't hold that against him. But he's our genius discoverer. Yeah, come forward.
Come forward, team.
Richard can look thousands of genes at any one time. He doesn't work at the bench. He doesn't hold the pipetta. He doesn't have test tubes. He sits in front of a computer and tries to work out things. So Richard is a key part of our team. Where is Charlotte Burns? She's here with her 3 kids. I'm not going to bring everyone up, but I just want to... Charlotte, come up here, please. So Charlotte Burns is a genetic counsellor by trade. She basically tells me what to do. She organises all our clinics for all our families. She's a genetic counsellor. She's a PhD graduate who did a wonderful PhD study. And she's the one that was often the first interaction with the family in terms of, she takes that first call, that first really difficult call. And we've got other people in the audience, a lot of females, and I think that's part of the reason because females are just better than males when it comes to this sort of work. They're more reliable, except for Richard, of course. So it's a team of people. So you're not supporting me. I just guide the ship, but I'd like to think that I contribute. But they're the ones that do actually the work. And to give you an idea, a PhD student in our lab gets $50,000 a year for 3 years. That's a top PhD scholarship. That's crazy, right? These guys are the future of research in this country, and they get a rubbish pay. Sorry. So it's a big team. Lots of people involved. We're very committed to what we do. And I finish with the idea that research gives people hope. I had a conversation with Bella, if I don't mind mentioning, at her workplace a couple of weeks ago. And, one of the things she said was, I hope Xavier's death, has an impact in terms of what we're doing. His death has already had an impact. The day after some of the news articles and things in the current affair that came out, we were flooded with phone calls, emails of families where the similar thing, there's a family history of a young person dying suddenly. Those families have now come to the clinic or are coming to the clinic to get sorted out. So because of Xavier, we're getting more families where we can see them and prevent further sudden death. So before we've even done any research, his death has meant that other families in our community are aware of this problem and have come forward to try and check their children and make sure they're okay as well. Finally, I purposely don't mention Xavier till the end because I get emotional, as Ali knows. And you can do this for 25 years, but every family is unique. Every family has a story. And I never met Xavier, but looking around this gathering today, I can see the impact, a snippet of the impact that he's had. I've seen videos of him, big smile on his face all the time. I've heard stories about him. We never do our research. I tell my lab team, no one's a case, no one's a number, everyone's a person. And Xavier, we all know him now through what we've seen through your family. We will do our absolute best to try and get answers for why Xavier passed away, but we do that for every single family we've seen in the last 20 years. And that's what drives us. The driver for all of us is to help families and to prevent sudden death in our communities. So thank you very much. I'll just say one thing about the auction. I noticed there's a Manly jersey there signed. I think it's going for $5 at the last I'm sure. So apart from that, go the bunnies, yes. Anyone who knows me on Twitter or Instagram, that's all I post, bunnies, things. And we won last night. But no, I mean, I even seen the Manly team, the wonderful reception they gave the family and the memory of I think they kicked off that game, in his memory and whatever. Wonderful thing. So even Manly supporters can do that. It's amazing. Thank you very much, and always happy to have a chat anytime.